All right, good morning. It's Friday, 8 o'clock. Um, wow. Okay, so these markets, so I got to explain something to you how these things work. Yesterday, when the market went up, um, see, there's a 4 hour chart. I'm going to get rid of this thing here. Hold on one second. Well, actually, before I get rid of these charts, I'll just mention that the Dow Jones is already it's at its bottom down here, and Russell 2 is going to make some new lows here, and eventually this will too, and it'll break out. So no matter what the news says, or anybody says, or even what the charts look like in a short term, these markets are going to go down. There's nothing that's going to stop it from going down. Okay, so I'm going to switch the charts over. Oh, yeah, one more thing. So yesterday when the markets came up and when the NASDAQ came up and made this high right here, and it just hit this top, and all the other ones went up like that, I just thought this is a no-brainer. So I bought some more put options because this was just too good to be true. I mean, the market only has one place to go, and that's down when it comes to the top like that. All right, so here's the ES, and so if you look at it at a long-term chart, you can see that everything's pretty much normal. What's happening here, but if you look at it from a day-to-day chart, it looks like possibly the market's going to go up, and it's probably going to keep going. But in a longer-term chart, it doesn't look like that at all. It looks like it's continue its descent right here. It's going down, and I know in the news they're talking about banks bailing other banks out, and you got to know that that's not true. You got to know that all those banks are in trouble. I think we have it's like $130 trillion debt nationwide. That's everybody, and there's no way that's going to be paid back. It's impossible. So the only way to do that is this whole system has to collapse and start up all over again. It's just very typical. It's like history repeats itself. It's what happened in 29 also. That's just what happens. It just collapsed. The 2008 correction was just the beginning of what was going to happen. It was pretty much a warning. But anyway, these markets are going to collapse. They're going to come down. They're going to come way down. They're going to come way down. So I'm thinking at minimum this line here. And it's got to happen by, I'm guessing summertime. It's really going to start hitting really hard. But also, you have to understand this is Wall Street running this show. And in order for them to make money, they need you to buy. And then they need to turn these markets around so you lose your money. It's not that they're being devious. It's just that's just the way the markets work. You know, how else are you going to make money? You buy low and you sell high, or you buy shorts high and then you sell low, and that's just how the market works. You know, people are out there and they're doing all their analysis on companies, and they're making sure that the companies are solvent, and they're making a lot of money. And the companies are strong, and they're going to be here for years. Well, that doesn't really matter because that's not how this market's traded. It's buy, sell. And whether the company's making money or not, especially when you get to the end, to this apex here, the greed really starts to pour in. And there could be companies that aren't making any money, and yet their stocks are going up. And clearly that's what's been happening here. And here, people are investing still in banks, and they're broke. They're not making any money, even though it shows that their profits are good. It's just not happening. So you got to know that this is a big game, and it's about making money. That's it. And all the CPI report, inflation is totally off. You know, it's just reports just to get people invested in the market. But pretty much right now what they're trying to do is they're trying to not cause a panic They don't want people pulling out of banks because eventually these banks are going to go under. People pull out of banks, then it's going to be pretty bad, if they do it all at once. So they're doing it little by little. Banks are going under. There's some banks that are going under and people don't know about it. As far as on a big scale, the people that lose their money, of course, they know about it, but it's not on the news. You can look for it. You can Google it or YouTube it, and you'll see there's people right now losing money. They've been losing money. Bank of America has been closing branches, Wells Fargo, and you see that people are losing money. They go to the bank and their accounts are gone. So this has already been happening. So right now it gets to a point where it starts to hit a trigger and more, and it becomes like a domino effect, and then eventually it just collapses. But the market collapses always way after the problems start. And so, like I said, they don't want you to know what's really happening because you're going to panic and you're going to try to do the right thing by taking your money out of your bank. I don't have my money in any bank. So it's in my trading account, my brokerage, which seems like the same thing, but actually it's not, because I'm always invested and they're not going to take my money there. That might be the last place, but I have other options too. Okay, so this is the ES right here, and what's going on here? And now it's going down again. It's up on the top here, is in this balance area, and now it's going down here. Now I put this here yesterday in case this market was going to come down and hit this, which it didn't. And if it did, then I would definitely sell all my positions, or I would just wait for the market to come back up. It depends. Now, if it would have sold at the end of the day, different story. Would have hung on to my position. But midday, if it would have came down, market had no other place to go but up, and then I would have sold. I think I talked about this yesterday, how that works out. So as far as the Dow Jones never really broke this balance area. It remained in here, just like the Russell did, and it broke out of this balance area. And like I said before, once it breaks out of this, it's going to go this way in a big way, and eventually it's going to break out. I'm just thinking it's got to do this now, real soon. So let's see what happens today. So NASDAQ's very impressive. It's actually broke out of this box, and I know I mentioned that there's let's see here. Oops, go the other way. Now once it breaks out of a balance area, it takes off in a big way. Okay, so there are exceptions, and here's an exception, is that first of all it's got to stay up here, and it looks like it's coming down now, which it will. And then the other thing is, if the other indexes are going down and this one's the only one going up, then it's going to drag this one down. So that's an exception too. So you have to watch out for other indexes too. If they're in their balance areas and they all break out at the same time, that's a really good sign. So I don't really count this. Now there's been some news, I guess, and driving this up about the tech sector. So the only thing that I'm concerned about this NASDAQ, it's just going to come down really hard. It's like anything else. When the real estate market goes up in a big way, it starts coming down in a big way, and that's what the NASDAQ's doing. I compare this one to the real estate market. It's just going to come crashing down, probably really hard too, in the next couple weeks. So we'll see what happens with that. And then we got the Russell, which, it's probably extended this balance area into there, and it's still here. It never broke out, just like the Dow never did. And like I said before, this seems to be leading the way. So we'll see where this market goes today and how far down it goes, and see if it starts breaking down into here. Because eventually it's going to come down to this line soon. And then we got the SPYs, which piggybacks on the ES. And so that's, it's starting to come back down again. And like I said, I bought options here at the end of the day, because when I saw this market and it continued up, and it was about maybe 15 minutes before the market was going to close, I knew it was just going to either continue up or at least stay there. And I thought, this is just a no-brainer. This is just so easy. And I bought some put options, because where else is this market going to go? We're trending down. And I know the news is driving this thing up and talking about banks bailing each other out, and it's just not happening. None of that's true. So, and if it is true, they're bailing them out with fake money. There's no money out there, and so eventually that's all going to collapse too. So they're just postponing it. Anyway, this was an easy trade, coming down, and so that's really it. So the ES is down 40 points. That's not very much. It can still go even twice that. It can go 80 points, and it can go 120 points. It can do that today. It could actually come down into, let's see here. So technically it could come down into this area and even finish off here, pretty close to the bottom today. I know that's a big, that's a lot for it to travel. Be a big line down, but you can see these markets. These lines right here, that's what they did. So like this one here, and so that can even bring it down to this level down in here. So we'll see what happens. If the market closes down below here, I'm going to decide whether I'm going to hang on to my position and just sell all my options, which would be a pretty big gain, all those options that I purchased, or I might hold on, because I know next week will probably be a down week, but then you never know. It could come back up again, and they're floating this thing, and then I'll have to buy more put options to come back down. So I'll decide what I'm going to do at the end of the day. I'll see how this market feels and how fast it comes down. So it's only 8:30 in the morning, so it's still got like 4.5 hours of trading. So the markets need to do something in 4.5 hours. It just can't come zooming down and then sit there. It's got to start gyrating and going up and down, and then because it can't just make one move early and stop. It's got to continue. These markets are always moving. So as far as day trading, the markets opened up in this area, and then it just came shooting down. So there is a balance area here, but it's not as clear. You can still put your money in here, only because, like I said, this market is trending down, but because it's a day trade, it still can pop up before it goes down. But it didn't do that. It came down here. Now this is a balance area that's very clear to me. Right in here. So you can actually trade that. So which way this market's going to go, like, you have to keep in mind that it's still early. So there is a chance this market can still come up a little bit before it comes down. But if it breaks and makes a confirmation, another bar going down, then there's a chance it's going to continue. So this one's kind of a tricky one, because a lot of day traders are thinking, I don't know what they're thinking, but this could throw them off balance, thinking it's going to go down and it goes up, or thinking it's going to go up and goes down. because I mean, eventually it's all going to go down. But as a day trader, you can't just let it come all the way up here and lose all that money and then write it down. You have to pretty much be sure where it's going. And as we can see, this market looks like it's, continue to go down. I would bet that this market will probably come down a little bit more before it starts to retrace. So I'm not day trading today, so I don't have to worry about it. I just don't have a feeling about this. But like I said, I bought my put options up in here yesterday, and I just feel really good about that because I can just ride this out, these waves, till it goes down. Okay, so anyway, that's where we're at. ES poked back into this balance area and is coming back in here. It's below its 4,000 mark, which it seems to be a psychological support or resistant line. Right now it's acting as a resistance. It was above it and now it's below it again, so it's not staying above the 4,000, and of course the momentum is down, so we're coming down again. Now whether this is going to come back up, I'm not sure. I would be really surprised if it does, because this is starting to get really long in here, this area between here and here. I've talked about that before, how these the timeline between these ups and downs is pretty consistent. Let's see, yeah, hold on 1 second here. Okay, so the timeline, between here and here and here, and so this one's coming, kind of dragging out a little bit, and the more it drags out, I believe the further it's just going to go down. So that's what's happening. Okay, I think that's it. I think I said enough. I hope that's enough information for you. Just in summary again, this is a downtrend. Markets are going down in a big way. The key to this is when it's going to happen. So you do have to time it. I know people say you can't time the markets, but you have to time it, and you have to know pretty much where the tops and bottoms are or pretty close, in order to put yourself in a position so you can make maximum profit. And that's how I trade. You can see that by watching my videos. But again, the tricky part is timing it. If you're day trading, you're going to time it differently than a longer term. Like I said, I bought more puts here, April puts, because I figured at least by the time of expiration it's going to be way down here. Not going to buy puts that are just expire in a couple days, because if they do and this market comes back up here before it goes down, then I can lose my money. So that's the part that you have to be, that's the other part of this game, is not only timing it, finding tops and bottoms, but picking the right options to purchase and when to buy them. The other tricky part is not so much getting in, but getting out. So you have to know when to get out. You can't be too greedy. And so this is all something that you're going to gain through experience. Nobody can teach you that. I can teach you how these markets work and teach you about the charts. It's pretty consistent how it works. And I can tell you, I know quite a bit about how Wall Street works and what the news says, and it's there just to keep you invested in the market. That's what they want you to do. That's how they make their money. But you can't believe a word that they say, and you can't believe the government reports that come out. Inflation those numbers are way off. CPI, if anything, and even if they are close to accurate, everything's delayed. This is from the past, and the things that are happening now are going to present themselves maybe in a month or two. Sometimes they just take a while for things to happen. So you have to see these things ahead of time, and you do that through experience. So nobody can teach you that, but I can tell you about it. because I have 24 years experience, so been through this before. Okay, so that's it. Friday, we'll talk on Monday and see how things go. So I hope you guys have a great weekend.